The Watcher in the Glass. Author, Willow Martin. Copyright Darkstitch Apparel 2026. All rights reserved. I have resolved to set down these words, while reason yet holds dominion over my fractured mind, though I confess that each passing hour brings new doubts as to the tenure of that dominion. What I am about to relate will be dismissed by the rational as the ravings of lunacy, yet I swear upon all that remains sacred to my tormented soul that every word is truth, or what passes for truth in this shadow world I now inhabit. The mirror came into my possession 3 months ago, following the death of my Uncle Thomas in circumstances that the authorities deemed unfortunate but explicable. He was found in his study, his face frozen in an expression of such abject terror that the physician attending the scene was compelled to quit the room. The official cause was given as apoplexy, though no man of 45 years, previously in robust health, should suffer so violent an end without provocation. Among his effects I discovered the mirror, a magnificent piece, its frame wrought of blackened silver in patterns that seemed to shift when observed peripherally. Ancient script, in no language I recognized, wound serpent-like around its borders. My uncle's journal, found locked in his desk, made mention of it in increasingly agitated entries. The final passage, written in a hand barely recognizable as his own, read simply, "It shows what watches. God forgive me, it shows what always watches." I should have cast the accursed thing into the deepest river. Instead, fool that I was, I hung it in my chamber. The first night I noticed nothing amiss. The second night I woke at that desolate hour between midnight and dawn, gripped by the irrational certainty that I was not alone. The mirror hung opposite my bed, catching the pale moonlight. In its surface I saw my room reflected, my wardrobe, my writing desk, the door, all precisely as they should be. Yet something in the reflection seemed subtly wrong, as though the air itself had thickened. On the third night I saw it. A figure stood behind my reflected self, indistinct as though viewed through murky water. I spun in my bed, heart hammering against my ribs. Nothing. The room was empty, save for myself. Yet when I turned back to the mirror, there it remained. A tall, impossibly thin silhouette, its head cocked at an angle no human neck could achieve. I convinced myself it was a trick of shadow and exhausted imagination. I did not sleep that night, but the figure grew clearer with each passing evening. Details emerged with hideous patience. The suggestion of elongated fingers, the hollow spaces where eyes should reside, a mouth that seemed to extend far beyond the natural boundaries of a face. It stood always in the same position, always watching my reflected form with an intensity that I felt as a physical weight upon my chest. I tried covering the mirror, the sensation of being observed only intensified, accompanied by sounds I cannot adequately describe, a wet, sliding noise as of something dragging itself across glass from the other side. I removed the covering and found the figure closer than before, near enough that I could discern the texture of its skin, pale and glistening, stretched taut over a skull of wrong proportions. Last night, I made my gravest error. Driven by equal parts terror and maddened curiosity, I approached the mirror and pressed my palm against its surface. The glass was cold, so cold it burned, and for one horrible instant I felt something press back from within. The figure smiled. I fled my chamber and have not returned, though I know such flight is temporary and ultimately futile. For I have begun to see it in other reflective surfaces, in shop windows, in puddles of rainwater, in the polished silver of my dinner service. Always the same position, always the same distance, but incrementally, inexorably closer. This morning, I caught my reflection in a hand mirror and saw that the figure now stands directly behind my shoulder. So close that, were the glass no barrier, its breath would stir my hair. Tonight, I fear, there will be no distance at all. I am writing this in a room with no mirrors, no windows, no polished surfaces of any kind. Yet even now, I feel its gaze upon me. I understand, with a clarity that transcends sanity, that the glass was never a prison, it was a window. And I, in my arrogance and ignorance, have been staring back. When they find me, and they will find me, just as they found poor Uncle Thomas, I pray they will destroy the mirror. Though I suspect, with a dread certainty that gnaws at my soul's foundation, that it will matter not at all. For I have learned the terrible truth that my uncle discovered before me. The mirror does not show what watches, it shows what has already crossed over. Even now in this mirrorless room, I see a reflection where none should exist, cast upon the wall by no light source I can name. And in that impossible reflection, I watch myself stand and turn, though my body remains seated, paralyzed by fear. I watch my reflected form smile with a mouth that stretches too wide, head tilting at that unnatural angle. I watch as the reflection steps forward, moving independent of my frozen flesh. The distance, at last, has closed to nothing. Manuscript found in the private papers of Mr. Edmund Ashford, deceased. The mirror referenced in this account was never located among his effects. All rights reserved.